Okay, so I'd like to welcome you all to today's Circle of Wine Writers Let Talk About session, number 115. And today we are talking about ampelography and the future of wine with Olivier Bourdet-Pees. Welcome to those existing members of the Circle of Wine Writers and those that are joining for the first time, and also welcome to our guests. The Circle was founded in 1960. Sorry, I've missed some more people. And today has over 270 members, including wine writers, educators, and broadcasters, and other professional communicators. The membership is now global, with a 50-50 split between UK and overseas. There's more information about the Circle on our website, and also more details if you would like to find out about joining the Circle. I'd now like to hand over to Liz Saggies, who's committee member in charge of running these events and organising these events. And over to you, Liz.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone. It's an enormous pleasure to introduce Olivier. I've known Plément for a long time, from well before when Olivier became involved. And I've always been so impressed by what they do as the cooperative, producing excellent quality wine, from basic, very drinkable everyday wines to chateau wines, but even more so by the work they've done with rediscovering many of the ancient varieties from Southwest France, which is an extraordinary area for unfamiliar grape varieties. And they have a remarkable future now, as Olivier will explain. Olivier comes from a farming family. He studied enology. He's worked in Bordeaux, Uruguay, where he planted Tannat, which is, it's a key grape in Uruguay, but its homeland is Southwest France. And then in 2008, he joined Plément as technical director. So he was responsible for this side of the grape development side. Since 2012, he's headed the cooperative, managing director and head winemaker. And he's just absolutely the right person to follow in the footsteps of just inspirational André Dubosc, who set the whole thing up in the first place. So Olivier, welcome. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Very pleased to be with you, in front of you. We need so much, all of you, to make this way of seeing wine able to be explained to the people, and that this is a big subject for us. I wanted to, maybe if I can share a small PowerPoint to explain a little bit the story of Plément. First of all, the history of Plément and the way we are believing in our future around the biodiversity and the incredible strengths we have in the foothills of the Pyrenees with the ancient vineyards and the diversity in terms of grapes we are finding in those incredible vineyards. So maybe if I can share this, it was that one, sorry. So all of you see the PowerPoint? Yeah, it's good. So only first of all, presenting a little bit the situation of Plément. We are between Biarritz and Toulouse, I would say, in southwest France, in a very specific region. We call that the foothills of the Pyrenees, with two big influences between the Atlantic Ocean in the west and the frontier of the Pyrenees, big frontier of the Pyrenees in the south. That makes an incredible specific climatic situation because of the clouds that are coming from the west that are blocked by the Pyrenees, and that makes an incredible situation in terms of availability in water. The availability is much more important than in UK, for example. It's around, I would say, 1,200 millimeters a year of water in general. with a big availability in spring, which is very, very important in the beginning of the cycle in viticulture. We have a lot of water in March, April, May till June, I would say. And that makes the situation to be obliged, I would say, to use grapes that are used to those conditions. It's impossible to think about having, I would say, a Syrah or a Pinot Noir entering our situation. It's impossible. They are not able to afford this incredible, huge availability in water in spring. So this is very important to know. Many people think that in south of France we are missing water. It is true, all of us southern part of France in general, but except in the south, in the foothills of the Pyrenees. The foothills of the Pyrenees is four appellations, four main appellations. One is not on the map because Plémont is not producing that one. It is Irouléguy in Pays Basque. Then you enter a little bit in the earth, and it's Jurançon in the southern part of Pau, in the small city of Pau. We are producing Jurançon for the last 2 to 3 years. It's quite new in Plémont. And then you're entering a little bit more in Madiran and Pachering du Vic-Bilh. You see that in red in the map. It's the same zone. The red production is Madiran, and the white one is Pachering du Vic-Bilh. Pachering du Vic-Bilh can be both dry or sweet. And then you're entering the incredible appellation for us, which is Saint-Mond. It is the reason why Plémont was created. It is to defend, to develop, to talk, to make the value around the production of Saint-Mond AOC, because Saint-Mond is really the emblematic appellation of Plémont. And then we are leaving the foothills, entering another zone in IGP, Côte de Gascogne. We will come back to this just in a few minutes. Maybe the main part in terms of production for Plémont. The history of Plémont is new, quite new. We were born in the year 1978. In this period, we were producing, I always say that we are producing in the zone the worst and the cheapest wines in France, maybe in the world, I don't know. The worst, maybe I can guess yes. Because the knowledge in wine growing and winemaking was lost because the region was producing Armagnac. And you know, the magic part of Armagnac is not in the wine growing, is not in the winemaking. It is in distillation and aging of the alcohol that the magic is open. So we were losing everything in terms of knowledge in wine growing, winemaking. That with the difficulties of production of Armagnac, one guy, and you see him, André Dubosc, Lise talked about this incredible man, believed that it was possible to rebuild an ambition, a top ambition on wine growing, winemaking for production of wine. And with a small team of wine growers, he built this small project. You see the very beginning there. And we started to bottle our first wines in the year 78. We developed a little bit the project in 84, exporting the first wines. 1991 was important. I go ahead, but very important because we bought the first single vineyards, the first chateau, and maybe 98 was a very emblematic year because the first cuvée of Lefebvre, which is a little bit the symbol of Saint-Mont appellation, was the first year. But I wanted to focus maybe on what we did after the year 2000, because in the year 2002, we created a conservatory, maybe as a museum first, to be honest, in 2002, which is the most important private conservatory in France. We talk about it a lot in this intervention in the year 2002. And then after this creation, we started to work again on the knowledge of the different grapes we had put in this conservatory. In the year 2011, it was incredible for the job done till the year 1978 in conservation of the whole plots, because one of those plots was recognized as an historical monument. It is still, in the moment, the unique vineyard recognized as an historical monument in Plymouth and in France. After I go ahead, I wanted to talk about the creation in the year 2020 on the RID, identity of Plymouth. The name is Plymouth Demain, Plymouth Tomorrow, to use those incredible solutions created in the years before to think about the wines of the future around the solutions on biodiversity. I will come back to it. So maybe the main dates are there. The key figures of Plymouth, it's around 80 million euros or US dollars, in a little bit less in euros. The availability of the wines, nearly everywhere where people are interested in that kind of project, but maybe UK one was maybe the first to believe in it. Around 5,000 hectares of vineyard, a bit more on the 20,000 that are in our region. So 25% of the production of our territory is coming to Plymouth. 600 growers right now and 200 people working directly in Plymouth. A lot more in around us, I would say, with the employees of our wine growers and everyone. So it's very important for the small territory to have Plymouth in the middle of it. I wanted to talk about the indigenous grapes. In reds, you know, maybe the Tannat and the Pinot, they are representing around 75%, 80% of the production of Plymouth, those two in the moment. So they are very emblematic in the region. They are really, you only find Tannat and Pinot in France in this small region. A little bit in Marcillac, in the Aveyron for the Pinot, you call that the Mansois in this small appellation. But really, Pinot and Tannat are both really dedicated to the foothills of the Pyrenees. Maybe you are surprised to see Cabernet Franc and Cabernet Sauvignon in the indigenous grapes. They are well known everywhere in the world, more known maybe everywhere in the world, but they were born in the foothills of the Pyrenees. It's a very classical, specific genetic of the foothills of the Pyrenees, the Cabernet Franc. It's not an incredible grape for that kind of climate, to be honest, but we are using it maybe in blends for reds and maybe more for the rosé production of the region. It is nearly the same for the Cabernet Sauvignon, for the son of Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon. For the white grapes, the main production is around the Gros Mancinque and the Petit Mancinque. This really family, it is important family for the foothills of the Pyrenees, is maybe the most adapted to the conditions because they need a lot of water, and it's impossible for them to afford the lack of water. So each try away from the foothills was difficult in reality, because they do need both the humidity in the atmosphere and the water in the soil. So they need really this specific microclimate of the foothills. So they are the main ones. The other one, very important, is Colombar for the production of Gascony wines. Very aromatic, easy drinking wines from Gascony. And then you have around those two, Petit Courbu and Aruffiac. Maybe Aruffiac is emblematic of this willing of keeping diversity, even if that grape is not incredible. Aruffiac is tannic, it's bitter, it's many difficult reasons to accept to stop with it. But we were believing really early, and André Dubosc was the first one to believe in it, that Aruffiac was not the grape to make a 100% Aruffiac wine. But with 2%, 3%, 4% in a blend, it was helping maybe the expression of Gros Mancinque, the expression of Petit Mancinque, to the aromatic expression, the aromatic balance of those grapes was easier if you have Aruffiac in the blend than if you didn't have Aruffiac in the blend. So we wanted to keep that grape, and each producer, for example, in Saint-Mond, has to keep Aruffiac. Each one who wants to produce Saint-Mond has to have some 1 row, 2 rows, 4 rows of Aruffiac. In the last decade, we decided to work on disappeared grapes, completely disappeared grapes. For example, Mansin Noir, for example, Tardif. I'm pretty sure that most of you didn't have the opportunity to taste those one. Plémont is the only one in the world to have those two. The Mansin Noir, we found one plant in a plot of Tanat in the year 2000. And we thought, André Dubosc thought it was Tanat with low level of alcohol. So, because the quantity of sugar produced with that grape is really is much lower than the Tanat, the brother Tanat. And it's only the DNA analysis done in the conservatory in the year 2008 that said, okay, it's not a Tanat with low level of alcohol, it's a different grape, completely disappeared. The name is Mansin Noir, and it's a close brother. Maybe we think more and more that it's the father of the Tanat. And the Mansin Noir is a grape itself. So let's study it again. And we started to study the potential of that grape, the adaptability of that grape to our new conditions. And we started to replant a lot of Mansin Noir from that unique plant we found in the year 2013, then 14, 15, 16. And from that unique plant, we have now 39 hectares of Tanat, of Mansin Noir in Plémont. And we are the only one able to present Mansin Noir in the moment. More and more people are coming to us to see the potential of that grape, and maybe in Uruguay you will find Mansin Noir in the next years. Some people are starting to replant Mansin Noir in Bordeaux, for example. So it is developing a little bit now, but we still are, in my opinion, the only one able to present a wine from that grape at that moment. And the Tardif it's the future of the Saint-Mond AOC. We do believe in that grape to be part of the future in Saint-Mond AOC, I will come back to it if you want in a few moments and maybe in the questions. For this AOC, you saw the situation of this AOC. Saint-Mond is the one, is the emblematic appellation of Plémont. It is working with only indigenous grapes. So white is Gros Manseng, Petit Corbière, Ruffiac. Red is Tannat, Pinanque, mainly, I would say. And the year 2004, it is introduced for the last 2 years, but 2004 will be the first year where the appellation allow us to introduce Tardif in the blends. So you didn't taste them for the moment, but maybe next year when the 24 vintage will be presented, it will be allowed for us to introduce a little part of Tardif. And it is very, very important because Tardif in French means late. And this is very important to understand that the cycle of the Tardif is longer and much more adapted to the new climatic conditions we are facing, with more, the elevation of the temperature and maybe the importance of harvesting later. We do believe that it's important to harvest late. We don't believe in the grapes that we have to pick in the late August or maybe in some regions in the early August now. It's important for the vineyard to have the grape on it during at least 3 months, 4 months, maybe 5 months would be better. I always say that technology is helping more and more to people who have to harvest really early, but it's always a bad solution. You know, it's the same for a mother. If you have a child after 5 months, technology can do it now, but it's much better if the mother is having the child in her during 9 months. So we have to keep in our conditions the grapes that are able to be in the plant, in the vineyard during 4 months, 5 months. It's perfect. So Tardif is much more adapted to the new conditions. Then it's something very impressive to understand that Saint-Mond is owning a lot of very, very old plots. That's why Saint-Mond is really the appellation where we rediscovered everything we are owning now, because always the old plots is biodiversity. The young plots is mono clone, mono grape, always. So it's always in the old plots that we are. You have to focus to if you are interested in biodiversity. So the potential of all plots of Saint-Mond appellation is huge. It's very important to know that. Madiran, maybe you know a little bit more. The emblematic grape of Madiran is Tannat, and we do want to keep that as much as possible. But around Tannat, we are working a lot to understand what will be the grape that are able to keep the blends on Madiran adapted to the new conditions in climatic conditions and to the new conditions in terms of I would say waiting of the customers. The customer is part of the history of wine, and sometimes maybe more and more we will have to adapt the grapes to these new willings of the customers. Jurançon, it's new. Maybe you know really the closest part of the Pyrenees we have in the portfolio of Plémont. It's a very small project, but it's very important, but because completely new. We are only focused on the production of dry Jurançon. We don't produce at all sweet Jurançon because some incredible wine growers are doing it so incredibly. So we don't know how to do better. But for the history, for the big history of this incredible dry appellation of Jurançon, we do think that we have a way of seeing the wines that maybe is interesting for all the wine growers and for the customers in the future. Pasteuring du Vic-Bilh is the last AOC we are managing, the same zone in Madiran, but really dedicated to sweet wines, really late harvest wines. No botrytis at all. It's only passeurillage, and we are waiting the picking in late October, beginning of November, and then we come back to end of November and sometimes end of December to pick the grapes in Pasteuring du Vic-Bilh. It's very emblematic to keep the evolution of the aromatic evolution and the balance on the mouth with late harvest in Pasteuring du Vic-Bilh with the main grape Petit Mancinque. It is the only one able to afford so late harvest in the foothills. And the last, but maybe the most important in terms of volumes for Plémont is the production of Côte de Gascogne. It's an IGP dedicated to production. Well, 90% of the production of Côte de Gascogne is white wines, easy drinking white wines. With maybe that range, it's very emblematic now for us with not really low level of alcohol in this cuvée with 9 degrees, but it's 9 for Elia. But the main part of Gascony is producing 10.5, 11 degrees maximum in terms of alcohol. It is the big strength of that zone to be able to present those easy drinking wines that are demanded by the customer right now, more and more, I would say, in this moment. So the big success of Plémont is always for a long time around Gascony in Europe mainly. And the Manzanois, the grape Manzanois is the emblematic grape for Plémont in red production in Gascony right now. If we want to talk about ampelography, it's because we do believe in biodiversity as an answer to the problems that wine growing is facing right now everywhere in the world. We have everywhere in the world big challenges to face, and I would say that 90%, 95% of the wine growers everywhere in the world choose to bet on a grape, on one solution to express one terroir in general in the last 20, 30, 40 years. Our generation, most of us are in the same generation, thought that we had to simplify a little bit the message to make the customer able to understand it. So we lost a lot of biodiversity in this period after the Second War, because it was difficult, it was more efficient to express the choices of a wine grower around one grape, two grapes, maybe, sometimes three, but never more. So, for example, to express the lack of biodiversity in viticulture, in the year 1950 in France, with 20 grapes, the most important grapes in 1950, with Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Sauvignon Blanc, and Syrah and Pinot Noir, Chardonnay. We had 53% of the vineyard in France. Now, with the most important 20 grapes, we have 91% of the vineyard in France. You see the incredible loss of biodiversity we had we choose to have, the wine growers choose to have in this period. And each lack, each time you lose in terms of biodiversity, each time in Plymouth, we do believe each time we lose solutions to adapt. So the problems are bigger, and it was wonderful because we had always a solution. It was technology or agrochemistry to answer the problem we were facing in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s. So it was not so big problems. The problems were coming, but technology or agrochemistry had answers to the problems we were facing. Till the beginning of that century, it was wonderful like this. But the problems are increasing, and sometimes the solutions developed by the agrochemistry were bigger than the problem itself at the beginning. So more and more, we see problems that are so huge that technology or new agro-industry solutions are not able to solve. And so in Plymouth, we do believe that there is only one way. It is the way before the 50s. It is adaptation to the new, I would say, environment we are in. If the climatic evolution is that point, we have to adapt the solutions to be in harmony with the new conditions. And this is very important, to be in harmony with the new conditions, with the climate change, with the problems of the new demand of the customer. We have to adapt the wines, the grapes, the wine growing knowledge, the winemaking knowledge to the new conditions we are in. And it is the only way to be really strong, to see the future in our way of seeing wines. So in Plymouth, we have the incredible potential on solutions to adapt the production of the wines of Plymouth, thanks to this ability to adapt, thanks to the biodiversity we have in the vineyard for the moment. So now we are keeping our convictions on preserving all the local potential of biodiversity. We are working a lot with the new project of Plymouth Demain on knowing the potential of those grapes, the potential and the difficulties. You know, when the grapes disappeared, sometimes they have big problems, and we have to understand why they disappeared. Ancient wine growers were not mad. If they stopped a grape, there were reasons for stopping it. So we have to understand the reasons why they stopped, and we have to understand if the reasons are still good reasons to not to use them in the moment. Then we are re-understanding the potential in winemaking of those different grapes, and we are imagining if they are able to be the solutions of the future for the trends, for the wines people are demanding for in the future coming from that region. it's a bit difficult, but to talk about the conservatory, it is really the heart of the job we are doing right now. We have now 112 different plants in this conservatory and 39 varietals. And some of them are, all of them are really not very well known. Sometimes we know the name of the variety, sometimes we don't know. 12 of them are completely unknown. We don't know even the name of them, and they are not documented. We have to study them again, rediscover everything about their potential, their difficulties, and it is a huge job to re-understand the potential of each of them. But it's unique in France to have those 39 local grapes able to be, maybe some of them, the solutions of the future. Thanks to the DNA analysis, the DNA knowledge, now we know all the links between those grapes. We know everything about them. We know who are the fathers, who are the sons. We know if they are brothers. We know everything about them. And we know, thanks to this, the potential they are able to bring to the solutions we are looking for or not in each of them. So this is very big. I would say it is maybe the main job we did in the last 10 years in the knowledge of the biodiversity of the potential of the grapes in Plymouth. Then something very important to understand is the way we are preserving the very old plots. We have, for example, in Salmon appellation, more than 130 hectares of vineyard were planted before the year 70s. So they are now 55 years old, at least. But many of them are 70, 80, or 90 years old. They are each year they are more and more aged, so we have to pay attention on them because they are representing the biodiversity potential, the biodiversity treasure we have in Plymouth. And the most ancient of them, it's the monument, the historical monument, and that plot was planted before the year 1830 under Napoleon I. Can you imagine? It's a small plot with 20 hours of vineyard, 21 different grapes inside the plot, and 7 disappeared grapes inside the plot. It's unique. It's huge. The potential of biodiversity. We have another one, La Madeleine, that was planted a bit after in the year 1880. And we have another pre-phylloxeric vineyard planted in the year 1871. We are making a wine, a unique wine in that plot. It's emblematic, the pre-phylloxeric cuvée of Saint-Mont, made in that plot. It's around 1,300 bottles a year produced in that plot of Tannat. It's mainly Tannat, but not only. And this is really I would say the treasure of Plymouth. It's very important to do the job to preserve this for the next generation. They are fragile. All of those plots are really fragile, and they are owned by our wine growers, but we are helping them to protect them, to make them able to be alive in 20, 50, or 100 years. Coming back to this, I don't know if I know Liz is knowing that plot, but maybe many of you don't know that plot. It's maybe the emblem of Plymouth, this historical monument. You see it's like this, planted in the year 18 1830, and more than 200 years old now. It is no rootstock at all. It is planted on it's the roots of the grape itself, and the incredible biodiversity you see with those grapes over there. P. de Barnin number 5, for example, is an incredible grape, completely disappeared. We don't know the grape, so we called it as the name of the owner of the plot, Mr. P. de Bernard, and the number of the grape, the disappeared grape found in that plot. And for example, that one is a female one. It's not hermaphrodite. It's a female grape. So it has to be fecunded by another one. But it is able to produce grapes with a really, really low level of alcohol at perfect maturity. I would say it's a red grape. The perfect maturity is wonderful at 9 degrees now. Can you imagine? Maybe 1 century ago, it was 6 or 5 degrees of potential. And now it's 9 degrees. And the aromatic expression of that grape is incredible. It is flowery, it is spicy, it is very, very interesting for the future. No tannins at all in the wines. So really, it is maybe a very important grape for the future, that first one. So for the moment, to tell you, the administration, the French administration say, we are fighting a lot, but says impossible to replant female grapes. It's forbidden in France. Only hermaphrodite grapes are allowed in France. But we do think in Plémont that some of them will open again the solutions for the future. So we do believe in female grapes to be some part of the solutions of the wines in the future in our region.
One quick question, Olivier. Meg Maker just asked, is P. de Bernard a white or black grape?
We have many of them. P. de Bernard number 4, for example. P. de Bernard is the name of the owner of that plot. So when we discovered on that plot unknown grapes, we don't know nothing. The DNA analysis say nobody knows it. Nobody knows the genetic links between this grape and other grapes. We say, okay, it's a unique grape coming from that plot. We are naming it for the moment by the name of the owner and by a number. So we found 7 of them on that plot. So it's P. de Bernard number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 7 at the end. P. de Bernard number 5 is a red grape. For example, P. de Bernard number 4 is a pink grape with white juice. You see, we rediscovered really a huge biodiversity in that one. P. de Bernard number 1, you see it in the picture, is a red grape again. To be honest, P. de Bernard number 1, for the moment, is not so interesting. It's a bad grape. It looks very bad, very tannic, acid, vegetal, and we don't see the potential of P. de Bernard number 1. But we do not want to lose biodiversity anymore in Plémont, because maybe P. de Bernard number 1 is a solution to a problem that doesn't exist for the moment. So let's keep this solution for the future if it is the solution for a problem we don't know. We don't want to lose solutions for the future anymore. We lost a lot in the 70s or in the 60s. The last thing we are working a lot on is something that is not producing nearly anything. It's the wild grapes of the foothills of the Pyrenees. If you come and visit us, and really you are at home if you want, all of you come and visit us, we will show you those completely indigenous grapes that are in the forest, in woods. They are using trees as a stick. Really, they are wild, completely wild. It's a specific variety of grape. We call that Vitis vinifera, as all the European vines, but it is Vitis vinifera sylvestris. It is a specific species of Vitis vinifera that is able to climb naturally in the trees. And all the grapes we are working with in our region now are coming from from the selection of those Vitis vinifera sylvestris born in the foothills of the Pyrenees, selected by the wine growers or by the human beings at the very beginning. Selected. They selected a normal of those wild grapes, able to produce bigger grapes with more pulp inside, with more juice. And at one moment, when the selection was good for them, they fixed it to be the grapes, the varieties we are using now in the foothills of the Pyrenees. But we found 29 completely wild Vitis vinifera sylvestris in Gascony. For the moment, we are doing a job to look for it in the forest. It's not in the vineyard, in the forest, to look for them, because they have, again, the potential on biodiversity, may be useful for the future. We don't do anything with them for the moment, but we want to keep them, select them, and keep them for the future. Okay, maybe it was, it was important for me to talk about this way of seeing wine in terms of adaptation, and to work on the solutions existing in our region in biodiversity, to think about the adaptations to the next challenges for the future. You know, we see everywhere in the world. You meet everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world, people that have no solutions at all to the challenges, to the challenges they are facing. We do think we do have in this biodiversity the solutions for the future in our regions.
Thank you very much, Olivier. Your presentation has created a number of questions here, so I think we ought to just try with some of those. Trevor Sherrott has asked, are you working with Raffia de Montcade?
Oh yeah, incredible to know about the Raffia de Montcade. So it's a close brother of Aruffiac, Raffia de Montcade. Raffia de Montcade is allowed in the Pasteuring du Vic-Bilh. It used to be in Pasteuring du Vic-Bilh LLC. As we don't have anymore, it's not allowed anymore. But we have Raffia de Montcade in a small appellation named Béarn. Maybe it's very small appellation. We are not producing always only a little bit of Béarn appellation, and Raffia de Montcade is allowed in that appellation. But to be honest, we have maybe 3-4 plots still existing of Raffia de Montcade. It's quite an early grape, so I don't know if it's the grape of the future, but it is interesting to keep it, not to lose it. But for the moment, we don't think it is the grape of the future, because it is really early grape. So we don't believe so much in the early grape.
Thank you, Olivier. Our next question comes from Wink. Wink, would you like to ask Olivier your question?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted your thoughts about the INAO, and I wondered whether the length of time it takes them to approve a new, which is often an old variety in a particular AOC. Is this hampering rescuing these grapes for the future? Is this, with climate change sort of going so quickly, is there any way of speeding them up? And the other part of the question was the fact that they put restrictions on saying, oh, it can only be used in a blend. How much of a problem is this?
You know, they don't know it, because I'm fighting so much against them. They don't know it, but I'm a INAO lover. I love the concept of appellation. I love the concept of defending the specific expression of a wine in its terroir, in its moment. But the only problem with that is that in AO with very old people and very blocked people sometimes don't understand that the solutions we found in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, when the appellations were born, are not maybe the solutions to be in harmony with our territory right now. So they say, for example, okay, you choose Tanat for Madiran to be the incredible grape to express one terroir in one moment. And Tanat is the best grape right now, still the best grape to express the terroir of Madiran. It is the potential of Tanat. But it used to give wines with 12 degrees, 12.5 degrees in the 70s at perfect maturity. And now it's 14 degrees, 14.5 degrees. And maybe sometimes in 2020, for example, a hot year, 15 degrees when at perfect maturity. And Inao says, okay, Tanat is the grape of Madiran. No, Tanat is the grape of Madiran in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s. If the tool I want to use to express the potential of that appellation is Tanat and a blend with something else in the year 2010, 2020, or 2030, I have to find the solution, the tool really to express that terroir in that moment. When I fight against Inao, when I'm talking about the problem of Tanat, for example, they say, okay, if you have problems of alcohol with Tanat, I will allow desalcoholization of Tanat in Madiran. But I don't want this. I don't want a technological solution to invent the Madiran of the future. I want a solution, a strong solution to adapt my wine growing, my grapes, maybe my expositions. We were exposed to the south always to get the maturity. We were missing maturity years ago in the foothills of the Pyrenees. So we were selecting the plots with southern expositions, sunny expositions. I will have to think about on the terroir maybe in the eastern expositions and maybe tomorrow in the northern exposition, I don't know, in the year 2030, 40 or 50. And they say, no, northern exposition is bad. Okay, it used to be bad. Maybe in the next, we will have to think about adapting the exposition of the vineyard. And always the solution, they say no. Madiran is Tanat in southern exposition. No, it used to be. Madiran will be in the future Tanat plus another grape, maybe in a blend. Tanat southern exposition plus sometimes other grapes or other expositions. And we have to invent this. But I don't need technology to answer to the problems I'm facing for the moment. I don't need this. Please. And if I miss acidity on a grape, it's not our problem. But I see in house saying to people in Châteauneuf-du-Pape, okay, if you miss acidity in Châteauneuf-du-Pape, I will allow acidification in Châteauneuf-du-Pape. No problem. Acidification is a problem. It's not living in harmony with the moment, with the wines I want to make. So I have to adapt all the solutions to avoid technology, to compensate, and this is very, very difficult. So an example, Tardif. Tardif is a disappeared grape. It was impossible to get the maturity 1 century or 2 centuries ago with the Tardif. It's a late grape, really late. It is debudding really early. The cycle is long in reality. Debudding really early, and the harvest now is, I would say, around the 10th, 15th of October. 1 century ago, it was maybe beginning of November or middle of November, the maturity. That means never. You can't wait for having a maturity in November in our region. So the wine growers choose to stop with that grape. It was not the solution of the moment of 1 century ago. We were lucky enough to find 2 plants of Tardif in the historical monument. It was found, the only plot where we refound the Tardif grape is that plot. We put it in the conservatory in the year 2002. We studied the potential in wine growing in the conservatory of that grape from 2002 to 2008. We started microvinification on the Conservatory of Tardif in the year 2008 to the year 2015. In the year 2015, we started to say, okay, Tardif is very interesting for us. Please allow us to produce wine from Tardif. Thanks to the 20 years, nearly 20 years of studies, they said, okay, we allow the entrance of Tardif as a grape allowed to produce vin de France, to produce wine in France. So it enters the catalog of the allowed grapes. In the year 2017, we met in AO at that moment. We started to talk about in the year 2010, but in the year 2017, we say, okay, now it's allowed to produce wine. The government allowed to produce wine from Tardif, but we wanted to express the potential of our terroir. We want Tardif in the Saint-Mond AOC. We don't want to make vin de France in Plémont. We want to express the potential of our zone. They said, okay, why not? Let's make another 20 years experimentations and we will think about it. So we discovered that grape in the year 2000. We put it in the conservatory in 2002. We make 20 years of experiments and you say we need 20 more? No, impossible. So we struggle, really. All the wine growers of the appellation struggle. It was hard. I can say it was hard. We struggled against Sinao to tell them, okay, let us be what we want to be. Please. That grape was born in the AOC. We found it in a plot of the Saint-Mond AOC. All the willings of the wine growers is to use it to invent their future. And you don't have any thing to say that to say the risk of using it. You don't know anything. We know everything of the potential. In the aromatic expression, it is bringing to Saint-Mond something incredible that the customer is asking for. And
I think
you've
really answered it.
Sorry?
I think you really answered my question. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry,
it's
too long, but you see, we do believe in the concept of Saint-Mond AOC, but the challenges are so huge. We have so many to answer that we have to be helped. The administration, the French administration, have to be more efficient in the way less conservative, I would say.
Thank you, Olivier. I think people are now having to start to leave, but
Yeah.
thank you very much indeed. And there are also some questions there that haven't been answered. And I know that Lucy Morton, who's one of our honoured guests today, has got a question there for you about Tardif. So maybe we'll email it over to you so that you can maybe answer the question at another time. But over to you, Liz.
Thank you, Olivier. That was a fascinating, informative, and wonderfully passionate presentation, which everyone's appreciated, given us so much to think about. And please, can you answer the extra questions that there haven't been time for today, because this is a discussion that should go on and on and on. And can I urge everyone now, having heard this, to vote for Plément in the Old Vine Hero Awards, where they're one of two contendants shortlisted for the research category, and I think they really deserve to win it. So please vote for them. If you go on to the, if you search Old Vine Hero Awards, you'll find the links, and you have to vote by next Wednesday. And before we stop for today, a quick reminder, the next session is on April the 1st. It's not a joke. It's a serious discussion on wine judging, led by Charles Metcalf, who everybody knows as co-founder of the International Wine Challenge, with three other circle members, very experienced judges, Sue Eames, Liz Gabay, and Daryl Joseph. And that should be a fascinating session, 1st of April, 5 p.m. Again, Olivier, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support. You know, the role you have to make this evolution is very important. So the winegrowers we are, the winemakers we are doing many things, but we do need you to help us a little bit to be what we want to be. So thank you for your support. It's very important for us. Thank you for being there.